Hello, welcome, Umanjika. Ahlan wa sahlan. This is Grit and Grace on Ben TV. My name is Abdurrahman Kotomish. Everyone calls me Boudie. I'd like to welcome our guest today, Rita Nehme. How are you?
I'm good with you. Thanks for having me.
No, it's nice to have you. I would like to start to get to know you more and get to know about your journey. So tell me more about yourself.
I was born and raised in Lebanon, in a small town called Kfur, and I'm one of four sisters. I'm the eldest. So growing up there, I played a lot of sports. I was in nature a lot. So kind of sports was a big part of my childhood growing up. And we were lucky that our parents kind of encouraged us to seek everything that we're passionate about and pursue things we love. So with my love for sports, nature, and science, I ended up kind of studying chemical engineering there and being involved in a lot of sports growing up.
What was your favorite sport when you were young?
Basketball. It's quite common in Lebanon.
Yeah, that's kind of football.
No, I do like football, but it was definitely basketball. And yeah, I ended up joining the university team there. Wasn't very good, but I was good enough to make it.
How about your sisters? What sports did they play?
I think basketball was like a big theme.
The family
I did
sport.
I did play judo for a little bit as well. Got
Nice.
to the green belt, I think.
Is that a good
Which
thing?
I haven't thought about that in a while, but I did do that. But yeah, my other sister Greta played some martial arts as well. But yeah, after that, I kind of wanted my. I want to seek more opportunities and want to expand my world and go live somewhere outside of Lebanon. So I ended up going to the US and doing I did my master's there and studied geosciences, also on theme with the whole kind of nature and science, and did a lot of cycling there. So I joined this team that cycled from Texas to Alaska for charity over 70 days, which was really a turning point, I would say, in my life and my journey, and kind of
How long is
led
that?
to a lot of opportunities after that. 70 days and it was 4,400 miles, so like 8,000 kilometers approximately.
70 days of
Yeah,
cycling.
yeah. So it was definitely, I would say, a defining moment in my journey that led to me starting a similar organization here called Steer North when I moved to Australia about 9 years ago. I started with Majd, my partner, who you know as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, back then when we started it, we cycled from Melbourne to Cairns, and then from Melbourne to Sydney. So kind of that theme of using sport for social impact has always been there since Lebanon, I would say, but since I did that big bike ride in the US and after moving here. So yeah.
So let's move forward, I guess, and talk about you're currently the head of sustainability for Richmond Football Club.
Yeah.
Tell us more about this role and the role about what you were talking about, like sustainability in sports generally and social impact about sports and diversity, inclusion, women in sports. Tell us about your role.
Yeah, definitely. As I mentioned, kind of the sports as a vehicle for social impact and for change and behavioral change, cultural change, sustainability. Just in general, it was always obvious to me how sport can lead to social impact and positive change, and this has been a theme almost in a lot of things that I've done throughout my life. Yeah. And this position that I have at the moment and this job is that as well. It's using football as a vehicle for social impact. So as part of my role, I work on social sustainability and environmental sustainability as well. So that includes diversity and inclusion, so engaging with multicultural communities, LGBTQ plus inclusion, gender equity, especially working with the AFLW team on that, and accessibility, so working with the wheelchair team at Richmond, which is also very exciting and that team just won the
Oh,
grand
really?
final as well recently, a few
Congratulations.
weeks ago, which was very exciting. And from an environmental perspective, it's basically using Richmond's platform
Yeah.
or sports in general as a platform to make sure that we do things sustainably in the sporting space, whether it's how we operate the organization or how we run events and how we run the game. So that's kind of reducing our carbon footprint, but also using the platform to educate around climate action, and also having some climate leadership in our strategy, where we're using our networks and we're leading by example to create that change in the environmental space. So that's kind of in brief my role at Richmond.
No, it's really great to know about, like, because I feel like people generally just see sports as one side of, like, just watch the game and don't know, like, what people work behind the scene, what do they do. So it's good to know that, like, all these sports are working toward to, like, be aware of sustainability, aware of climate change, and, like, aware of their footprint and and like how they affect society in general, and, like, also making sure everybody is included in sports, because sometimes sports has always had this, like, past history of being not inclusive of everyone, or, like, being dominated by men, and, like, we've seen now it's just changing a lot. So it's good to
definitely, especially with the AFLW competition starting a few years back.
That was
there's
a
definitely
turning
been
point.
100%. It's definitely been a turning point in Australian football, and a big shift in culture happened when the competition started. And I know at Richmond, I wasn't working at Richmond before AFLW, but I always hear about people who saw the transition. I always hear about how much the culture of the club and also the culture around the game has changed once that competition started and the women's team was at the club. There was much more diversity, much more inclusivity in the culture, much more queerness as well. I think the whole culture kind of shifted, and
I know people as well who were, like, in the first matches, and they just say how magical it was to experience it, and, like, just people, the crowd, everybody, like, can feel how this was so important and should have been done a long time ago.
You can definitely feel the support for women's sport increasing, and especially
we have definitely seen that in the World
World Cup. Yeah, 100%. I think everyone keeps talking about the Matildas effect in Australia and the effect it has on women's sport, which was incredible. I think the game against England, which was the semi-final game, is the program or the thing on TV that was the most watched in recorded history in Australia.
I remember the time.
Ever.
It was a really great thing. Watched them play. It was definitely a good experience. Speaking of the World Cup,
yes,
I know you also worked when the World Cup was in Australia here. You were the head of sustainability in the Perth venue. Tell us about that experience. How was that?
Yeah, so I was based in Perth for a couple of months and led the sustainability function in the venue there in Perth, which included environmental sustainability, but also human rights and anti-discrimination, accessibility as well, and diversity and inclusion. It was an incredible experience to be part of the work behind the scene of this big tournament that was happening here, and it was Australia and New Zealand as well. So there were 10 venues across both countries, and it was amazing to be based in.
It was a huge thing. Like, everybody was watching. I remember being in Melbourne. Everybody was watching the games. Everybody was excited. It was all over the news. It was just what everybody was talking about. So must be great to be part of it.
Yeah, it was an incredible couple of months, and because I was working in it, I was wondering if I'm like part of a bubble and if the excitement is only there. And I was wondering, once I finished from Perth and I came to Melbourne, which the competition was still going in Melbourne, I was wondering if the excitement was still there, and it was.
It was
incredible, and we've had some amazing, I think, examples. Obviously, it's showcasing and. The best of women's sport, and it really showed how people will rally around any good competition,
Exactly.
whether it's women or men or any type
It unites
of
people.
sports.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a good thing to watch. It's like
Yeah,
good
and unites
experience.
cultures in this case because it is the World Cup
Yeah.
in the end. So countries are coming together to compete, but also to celebrate each other. And I know I was mentioning to you earlier this
Yeah.
amazing experience. The last game in Perth was basically a Colombia and versus Morocco game, and I know we were talking about that earlier and how incredible that was.
Yeah,
and
tell us about it.
Yeah. So either of the teams could have qualified. So basically in the group stages, there's another game that would be happening.
No.
And depending on how the result happens for the two games, 2 out of the 4 teams in a group get
To the next
get
level.
to the next to the next
Yeah.
stage. During that game, Morocco won by 1 point. I think it was 1-0 if I remember correctly. But based on the points throughout that
Overall,
stage,
yeah.
both Morocco and Colombia qualified. And it was the last game in the Perth Stadium.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. The celebrations outside of the stadium, it was like the Moroccan team was just like playing Arabic music and Arabic instruments for the Colombians who were dancing, and the Colombians were just like shouting Viva Morocco, and everyone
Wow.
was dancing together and celebrating together and seeing those cultures come together. Well, they're competing technically, but celebrating each other at the same time.
Yeah,
It
that's
was a
the
very
beauty of
special
sport.
moment.
Just
Yeah.
seeing cultures come together and in a different way. They don't have to be fighting, but competing in a healthy environment.
100%.
And like
yeah.
Morocco and Colombia, like very different worlds.
Yeah.
Having
Yeah.
to celebrate must have been like a magical experience.
Yeah, it was a big party for sure as well.
We
I
love a
think
big
both
party.
both know how to party really well.
They do. Lots of
Yeah.
rhythm.
Lots of rhythm. Yeah. Rhythm's important. Yeah, I agree.
Back here in Melbourne, you also are part of the Change ambassador.
The Change Our Game.
Change Our Game
yeah.
ambassador for the Victorian government to support women in sport generally. Again, continuing your theme, women's sports. So like, tell us about that.
Yeah.
What is that program and what does it mean? And like, what does it mean to be ambassador? And
Yeah, so there's 8 of us who are ambassadors across the state, and it's with the Office of Women in Sport and Recreation. And basically, the main thing that we do through different channels and through different work and initiatives is promote and advocate for the inclusion and equality of all women in sport. So I know sometimes we talk about women in sport just as a theme in general, but I think there are a lot of layers under that where women from different cultural backgrounds, queer women, women with disability, have very different experiences and very different needs in like local sports clubs, for example, and an inclusive environment doesn't just happen because a couple of initiatives are implemented. It has to
takes
can
time.
be very systematic and for change to happen systematically, and it does take time. There has been huge progress. Obviously, we were just talking about the Matildas and
what
the
other
AFLW
sports
and,
do you think here in Melbourne, Australia, have been like had a drastic change in including women, just like the AFW? Like, what other sports that have recently been more women in them, or significant support women in these sports?
all the big leagues have a women and a men's competition, and it's been great also to see non-binary people now out non-binary people in these competitions, which has been also great to see, and to see the inclusion around that and how much it has been embraced by their teammates and their clubs. I'm not very familiar with the specific work that, for example, basketball is doing, or rugby, or the A-League, like the soccer league here. But it's good to see that there's women competitions across all of these professional leagues, and the AFL being one of them.
I know that you're part of, is being on the board of Midsummer. Midsummer is the queer festival or carnival that happens in Melbourne here.
Yeah.
Well, it's been like a rough time for in the world, and with lots of changing, and like being on the board must have been like interesting. How was your experience being
Yeah, I think the organization has been getting more diverse over the years, and by that I'm talking across the kind of layers of diversity. And for me, it was very important to have a queer era perspective represented in conversations on the board, and hopefully making its way to decisions on the ground as well. I mean, at the board level, we look at governance mainly, but yeah, I think it's been important to have that.
I totally agree with you. I feel like
yeah.
generally in governance around Melbourne or Victoria, there have been like more push to have more diversity in different areas, different layers, just to. Melbourne is a very diverse community, and Victoria generally have like there's lots of different communities, and they all should be represented in different ways. So
yeah, and I know
and
sometimes
have a say and have a voice in their
yeah. I 100% agree, and I know sometimes, especially people with migrant backgrounds or who have recently arrived in Australia, being on a board or being in decision-making positions sometimes takes time, and takes also a lot of like small steps to get there, and small and fighting for
it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of energy, and also like it's a voluntary work, right?
Yeah, Midsummer is a not-for-profit organization.
Exactly. So you need to be like have
board
time.
members are voluntary positions. Yeah.
Be able to give this time and fight for like something that you're really interested in.
I think it's definitely there are now more pathways for people for different people to be in these in decision-making positions, but there's still a lot of challenges, especially for people who have a lot of experience, maybe from different areas and because of their backgrounds and where they come from. But there are still, the experience is there, but there are still challenges to like get to this position to influence decision making and influence how things happen on the ground. So I definitely think, or I definitely feel like it's important to for people to take these opportunities whenever they come and to seek them as well, because we need our voices to be included and to be heard.
We need to have like a seat on the table, but also to be heard. So like not just be at the table and just be the token of diversity, but also expect that the group is willing to hear and listen to more voices and different ideas.
Definitely.
Because that's how we evolve and change.
Yeah, I agree. Sit at the table and a voice. So I would definitely, and I've been trying to encourage also people in my community and my circles to be more involved and be more active, even if sometimes it does take a bit more effort and a bit more energy to do that, because of those barriers we were talking about. I think it's definitely worthwhile. Yeah.
Speaking of like migrant and refugees, I know that both of us are like being part of CRISP, which is the Community Refugee Integration Support Pilot that the government is working on now. And I know that we're both passionate about it, and I just we want to talk more about it and encourage more people to be part of it. So what is CRISP? Like, tell us like how, if people don't know what CRISP is, and like what is CRISP?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, it's a community a refugee support program. Or a community refugee sponsorship program, and it's an initiative that has been going has been implemented in Canada for a while, and that has been proven to be successful over there. And the idea is to have a community group between 5 and 10 people, and we're part of one of those community groups. And this group sponsors a person or a family to come to Australia. In this case, we fundraise for their first few months in Australia, up to like 12 months to support their settlement here. But I think most importantly, and the thing that I was the most excited about, is being able to use our connections, our skills, our community that are very unique to the people that we get matched with to come, to be able to give them integrate them here and give them a community and give them support that otherwise they wouldn't have had if they go through kind of a regular migration program to get here. So I think using our unique skills to support these people to thrive in their lives and in their new life here in Australia, I think it's a very special thing, and we haven't been matched to someone yet. I know,
but we've seen it happen in our community, and we see how like it's life changing. Like you were saying, like through the regular way of refugees come, they're given their caseworker, they don't know their background, they don't know their way of doing. It's not coming out of passion. So having a community support and being in and what also encouraged me that it's not mainly financial support, it's rather it's not about finances, because they get government support, they get Medicare, they are allowed into TAFE programs, and so they can study, they can learn, they can get integrated. But just coming to a different world with you don't know the culture in Australia, and you don't speak the language 100%, you need this like community to pull you together and just like support you. So
it's very special in a way that like your unique skills are contributing to someone's life being a bit easier, even like just a bit easier, basically, and supporting them and thriving here, hopefully. So I'm very excited to get matched to
there's lots of refugees around the world, and I feel like lots of people have been donating money and trying to support their people, and lots of people don't know what to do or how to support, and I feel like this is a very good way to get yourself into actually changing someone's life and making sure they are like supported and they're stable in a different world. And we're both migrants as well, so we understand how it is to like change your life differently, live so far away from where your family is and feel like disconnected, and with having this like different like time gap as well, so you're not easy and access to call them all the time. So just like
having that community and belonging, I definitely think it's one of the most important, maybe the most important element in being happy and thriving in a new place. If you're literally moving countries, starting a new life, it's definitely a major, it's like a make or break kind of element in someone's experience in a country. So hopefully we'll be able to kind of help with the community building and belonging.
Life can be hard for most of us and different, and and what are the things that keep you going or keep you like waking up, applying for this job and getting to this thing and being on this board and being on this ambassador? Like you're literally stretched on different things, doing different things in community and affecting so many people, different lives. So what keeps you going?
Definitely community is a big part of it, and I'm going to choose the word family, actually, and I mean that in the literal sense, so my immediate family, but also the chosen family that, I've been very lucky to have built over the 9 years that I've been here, and having that, I think, I know that's the first thing, and maybe the main thing that comes to my mind when I think about
sustainability with your life.
Exactly, like emotional sustainability. And I've been trying to focus on things that also almost like enrich my soul and try to be involved in things like CRISP and things that align with my values, and trying to
go for a dance,
Go for a dance. We love that. I love that.
We've been blessed with having like an Arab community that we are like easygoing and happy to, like you said, definitely become our chosen family and dance with them, cry with them, struggle with them generally, and just like go through life.
Yeah, I agree. It's very special it's very special to have that through the ups and downs.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, life has all of the things in it, so it's good to have
The good, the bad,
a
and the
chosen
ugly.
family that goes through all of that
Yeah.
with you. That love and that support. So definitely, I feel lucky.
That's all for today. Thank you for being with me in the show,
Thank
and it
you.
was nice listening to
It's
you.
been
And
nice. Yeah.
it's excited to learn more about your journey and see how things go with sustainability and in sports in general.
Thank you. It's been good to be here.
This is it for tonight. Thank you for watching. This has been Grit and Grace on Ben TV. My beautiful guest here, Rita, and see you other time.